All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to find measures of center and spread with Excel. So the idea is you have a data set, some numbers that you collected, and you want to be able to find certain statistics for them. So as an example, here's a list of two data sets, like list 1, list 2. We could pretend that these were measurements, maybe in meters, right? So maybe this is how far my ball went in meters. And we want to talk about, looking at these two lists, which one went further, right? If you just look at the list, it's a little bit hard to see which one went further. Like this one has a higher number, 39, but it also has like a 2 and a 2, and this one doesn't have anything below 10, it doesn't look like, right? So yeah, this one has higher numbers, but it also has much lower numbers. So we want to think like on average, which one went further, which one is more precise, which one is more consistent, those kind of things. And all of these can help us talk about that, precision, and highest number, those kind of things. So first we're going to find is the mean. The way we do this is we just type in the equal sign, and we're going to type in average. We're not typing in mean, we're typing in average. They're basically the same thing. So you're going to double click on this, and then if we want the average of list 1, we just select this for list 1. We do the exact same thing for list 2. We type in average. We click on it and we select the values for list 2. Okay, and we press enter. So here we can see that on average, list 2 is higher than list 1. So if these were distances, we'd say, oh, list 2, the numbers in list 2 are about 1 meter if their distance is higher than list 1. The typical value is higher. That's not enough information to fully describe. This is called a measure of center because it tells us, the normal typical value of the data set. The median is the middle number that can also tell you the typical value. Let me show you how this works. The median is basically the center number. So in this case, there are 11 numbers. I've put them in order. If I find the number that's in the middle, that's going to be this. This is the median. In this case, it's 9, right? This is just an example. It's not going to be the same for my data. So if I go to my data and I type in median, it's going to return the middle number. Again, I'm just going to select my data set and press enter. And over here, I'm also going to type in median, and I'm going to select my data set, and I press enter. So what's interesting here, and again, so you see these numbers changing. The reason that is because I just made these defined based on a random number generator, so they're kind of changing every time I press enter. You can see that here if I just, what if I do? I don't know if I change something. Yeah, anyway, not important. Okay, there you go, that changed. You can see this median is higher than that median. That can tell us, I know it's another measure of center. Use the median if your data is skewed. Use the mean if your data is symmetrical. We can talk more about what that means a little bit later. For the rest of these, I think max and min are pretty easy. I can show you how to do those. Maximum would just be type in max, and then you press enter, or you double click it, and you select your data. So all of that. It's a little bit smaller, and minimum is, or maximum over here, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to select list 2 data. A minimum is the same thing. You press equals minimum, you select the MIN, and we're going to do list 1. And over here we're going to do maximum. No, not maximum, we're still doing minimum, but list 2 minimum. Select it, list 2. Okay, so again, we can see here like, oh, there's a higher max, but there's also a lower low, right? And over here, the numbers are a little bit closer together. We call how far away these are the range, and you can find the range just by taking the maximum and subtracting the minimum, right? So same idea here, you can say maximum minus minimum. And so the range just means it kind of tells you how spread out they are, right? There's less distance between the highest and lowest point for list 1. There's more distance between the highest and lowest point for list 2. So that would kind of help us see that list 2 is a little bit more spread out than list 1, a little bit less consistent, more inconsistent. List 1 is more precise. Okay, next we're going to talk about is quartiles. So remember how the median divided our data in half, right? You had first half and you had second half. Basically 50% of the data over here, 50% of the data over here. The quartile is going to divide that in half. So the quartile is going to say, okay, well, here's the first half of data. Let me divide that in half, which would be cutting it right here. This would be Q1. We'd say it's 4. And then for Q2, we'd come over here. We cut it. This would be Q3, and we'd say it's 10. And again, if we look at this way, Now we've cut it into fourths. So there's 25% of the data here, 25% of the data here, 25% of the data here to there, and the last 25% of the data. With a little bit of weirdness with these numbers that are right in between. There's some debate about how to do those, but that's just an example of what this is doing, right? It's dividing it into pieces. So for this on Excel, you're just going to go and you're going to say, okay, well, I want Q1. So we're going to type in equals. We're going to start typing quartile. And you can see it's one of the ones that pops up right in the bottom. So I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to select my list of words. It wants array, comma, quart. So I do this, I press comma, and then I'm going to do quartile 1 and press enter. Okay, and I do the same thing for the next one. Quartile. I'm still doing list 1, right? So list 1, comma, and then 3, because I want quartile 3 now. And that's that. And then I do the same thing over here. I say quartile. This time I'm going to select list 2, press comma 1, because I want the first quartile. Here I'm going to press the same thing. Quartile, oopsies. Select the data, comma 3, because I want the third quartile. All right, so again, these are the numbers that divide the data into fourths. And then the IQR down here is the interquartile range. It's also a measure of spread. Interquartile range is just going to be Q3 minus Q1. Right, and the same idea up here is just going to be Q3 minus Q1, like such. And so you can see there's a bigger interquartile range, means there's a bigger difference between the first 25% of data and the last 25% of data. I'll show you this when we get to the data display. And the last thing I want to show you is standard deviation. You can just start typing ST, and we're going to use this, the one with the S on it. And we're going to select, oops, not the list, just the numbers. Press enter and do the same thing over here. Equals standard deviation. Again, we're selecting the one with the S on it. Double click on it and this one. Okay, standard deviation is also a measure of spread. It tells you how spread out numbers are. The bigger the number in standard deviation, the more spread out your data are, right? The less precise they are. So this one is more precise. This one is less precise. This one is less spread out. This one is more spread out. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what we're going to do with these data to present them in a visual format. So we're going to make a box and whisker plot. The way a box and whisker plot looks like is you basically put a number line down here with whatever you have, right? So maybe in this case we were talking about distance. And you'd put a regular scale here, so maybe starting at 0 and then say a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, whatever, right? And you label it properly. And then on this, we're going to plot our 5-number summary. The 5-number summary is the ones here that were in red. Mean, quartile 1, quartile 3, maximum, and minimum. Sorry, not mean, median. So basically, the minimum in this case is 1. So I'm going to put a little line right above the 1 is here. I'm going to plot quartile 1, which is 4. So I'm going to put another line right there at 4. Right, this is 5, so that's 4. The median is 9, so I'm going to put another little line above 9. This is 10, so it's about 9. Quartile 3 is 10, so that one goes here at 10. And quartile, the maximum is 17, so 17 is going to go right about here. What we do is we connect the middle ones with a box, and we connect the outer ones with a whisker. That's why it's called a box and whisker plot. What these box and whisker plots can do is they can help us see the spread in the data. So remember, there's 25% of data in between each of these. So what that means is when you see something that's super spread out like this, that means the data was very spread out in that area. And when you see something that's super condensed like this, that means the data was super condensed in that area, not spread out, consistent, precise, right? And there may be multiple reasons for that, but this just helps us see that. But we're going to have Excel do this for us. So let me show you how that goes. In Excel, we need 5 numbers. 5-number summary, which are these red ones: median, first quartile, third quartile, max, and min. We're going to go to insert, and we're going to go to this one here, which is statistics chart. And we're going to go to box and whisker. Okay, notice it does it a slightly different orientation. Also doesn't give us a title, so you need to title this appropriately. You're also going to need to add a chart element and add axis titles. And you're going to want to add axis titles to both primary and vertical. Right, again, in my case, this was maybe distance. In your case, it might be something else. And putting this in meters. And down here, this one was just for list 1. What I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to go ahead and add something else. I'm going to add data labels just so I can see, put them on the right, what these numbers are. So if I look at this, you can see this bottom line 15 is representing the minimum. That's the smallest value I will see in this chart. The 25 is representing the maximum, right? That's the biggest number I'll find in list 1. And then these quartile 3, median, quartile 1, right? That's where all those numbers came from. Now the cool thing about this is I'm actually going to delete this one. I actually want like a side-by-side comparison of these two because that's what's really going to be meaningful. So I'm going to select both of these. Again, only the red ones because that's my 5-number summary. I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to go to Box and Whisker. Now what this is going to do is it's going to put them side by side for me so I can really analyze them. Again, I need to add a chart. I need to add axis titles, right, to make this proper. But I showed you how to do that before. What we can do is we can look at this and we can see, like, look, these ones are much more spread out, right? In list 2, they're much more spread out than they are in list 1. That tells me list 1 was much more precise. But if I look at the median's a little bit higher in list 2, which means the average, the typical number, not the average, but the middle number was a little bit higher. So maybe list 2 is a little bit higher, but list 1 is a little bit more precise, a little more consistent. And that's how you make a box and whisker plot. And then you can pretty it up by labeling the axes properly. Okay, next data display I'm going to show you is a histogram. The way a histogram works is you basically have your axis down here, which again in this case I had like distance, and up here we're going to have a frequency. So the way this works is you pick out bins. So you might be like, okay, this is from 0 to 5, and then this might, you want your bins to be the same. So this would be like 10, 15, 20, and so forth. And then you have your list of data, which maybe is like 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10, and you basically say, okay, well between 0 and 5 I have, and I have to decide if I'm including 5. So actually it's sometimes better to actually write it like this. This is 0. This is actually, they have to be equal size. So 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. 16 to 20. And so here I'd be like, oh, well, between 1 and 5, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I draw a little bar right here. Right, and maybe I keep doing this and I see like, oh, well, 6 and 10 only had 3 numbers. So that's like this. And 11 and 15, if I counted this, actually had a bunch of numbers. And you'd have a bar chart like this that'd tell you, a histogram, it's not a bar chart, that tells you kind of the distribution. Right? You can see some like where most of the numbers are. Okay, to do this is quite easy. You're just going to select your data. Again, I'm going to do it with 1, and then I'll do it with more afterwards. So you're going to go to Insert, you're going to go to the same one, and we're going to go to Histogram. Now, when you do this, it's going to automatically create something for you that you may or may not like. This one has created 3 bins, and it's going 15 to 19.3, 19.3 to 26.6. And maybe that's not what you want, right? So again, what you need to do is you need to add axis labels, right? Like for sure you need to have labels for what the horizontal and vertical axis are. But mostly what we need to do is we need to change the format of this. So we're going to right click or 2-finger click, and we're going to go to, we're going to right click or double click on the actual axis things down here. So like on this 15 and 19. And we're going to go to Format Axis. What this is going to let us do is going to either let us choose our bin width. So for example, I could say I want my bin width to be 2. That means it's going to count by 2 down here, right? 15 to 17, it's a difference of 2. 17 to 19, it's a difference of 2. And so you can see what that looks like. And you can keep just kind of messing with this. It looks like I got to do it again because I messed it up. Or you could have number of bins, like maybe I want 7 bins for each of these, right? Like then it'll change it so it has 7, some of my bins may be empty, so on and so forth, right? It's also very, So once I have this for list 1, I would also want to do this something similar for list 2. Basically what this helps us do is see also whether their data is symmetric or skewed. So what I mean by skewed is this. If you're looking at your histogram and you see something that's even on the left and even on the right, same heights and a central peak in the middle, then this is called symmetrical or bell-shaped. This is the only case where if I have this then I would be able to use the mean and the standard deviation. So when I have a shape like this, mean and standard deviation are appropriate. If I have anything that looks like this, then we'd be wanting to use the median as the measure of center and maybe like quartile range for other stuff. These other ones are a bit more complex. Maybe you see them, maybe you don't, but it's usually an indication that there's something else going on in your data. And then this one just basically uniform. It's like always the same no matter what you do. The mean and median will both be in the middle, but standard deviation is going to be very high. All right, so this is a quick tutorial on how to use Excel. Hope it was helpful.